It seems you guys have been enjoying my internet history series where I often look at established content creators and look at either their old content or maybe look at how they have changed. So I did that one on Jontron, I did another one on The Amazing Atheist, and today I want to do one on Hunter Avallone. Now, this guy has been around for a long time in terms of YouTube, and people said he's deleted some videos. So I don't know how long his channel goes back, but his political shift from the videos he has up in 2016 to now are really, really stark. It's like a complete 180 essentially. But the evolution isn't even that gradual either. So we saw with the Amazing Atheist videos is that you had things that he was saying in 2009, which are very similar to 2021, even though there was some problematic aspects along the way. But the difference of this guy is the stuff he used to say was literally the most insanely bigoted stuff I think I've heard on YouTube that is still around. I really wasn't aware how bad this guy was. And then just compared to what he says today is, like I said, completely different. And the only through lines I can often see is he criticizes liberals a lot, but then traditionally with conservatives, when they talk about liberals, they mean just anyone who's fairly left leaning. Not like now where he and I would both make the distinction that we are not liberals, for example. And in the video, I also want to talk about, do you have to accept these people changing? And you guys might say stop being gatekeepy for the left, but I want to go into my views on this stuff, especially because he said so much awful stuff about basically every single minority group, and they have millions of views, these videos, and if you aren't a white straight guy, I can totally understand why you'd never want this guy anywhere near online places for the left. Also, one final thing I want to say, because I said this before, is that I'm not looking for a debate on this stuff. I honestly don't even know really what I'd have a debate with Hunter on, but with my Amazing Atheist video, he actually watched it, he streamed himself watching it, and he responded to it. That's all good. That's all fine in my opinion. I've said before, that's totally fine. But people asking me if I would respond to that or have a debate, I don't want to do that. The way I view this stuff is, through more a historical point of view. They're content creators who have uploaded a lot of stuff and I'm giving my opinion on it. And I'm not making these videos to turn it into some sort of internet drama. So once this is done, that's pretty much me done with the topic. Just thought I'd make that clear because a lot of people were asking after the Amazing Atheist video. Now, this video is also sponsored by Attire. Attire is an American clothing co-op owned by its artists. Founded during the pandemic with the mindset that peak capitalism cannot be sustained, Ethic shares profits with its artists, worthy causes, and tries its best to ethically source what it can. Check them out at ethicattire.com. Worldwide shipping is available. Code CAV for 20% off your first order. Now, Ethic Attire were nice enough to send me 2 hoodies. So here is the first one with their logo on it. I actually really like this one. Now, in terms of sizing, this is a medium, and I'm 6'2", about 184 pounds and stuff. So I'm in that annoying size range where I can wear both and sometimes both don't fit me. But this one fits really well for a medium, and I like the design and everything. So this is the second one. It's a large and it's more baggy obviously, but it still fits me fine. And you got the nice Black Lives Matter G.I. Joe sort of logo there, so it's a very nice style. I'm really picky when it comes to hoodies, so I like both of these, and my girlfriend says they look nice on me as well. Is that really an endorsement? Will my girlfriend say they look horrible? Who knows? But these hoodies are good quality. I like them. I'm gonna keep wearing them. You probably noticed if you go back and watch my videos for the last couple of weeks, I am wearing them in the videos before I announced this sponsorship. So yeah, go check them out if you want to support a more ethical company, and you can get a discount using the code CAV. And in terms of my own plugs, like social medias, Patreon, all that stuff in the description. This video will probably be demonetized considering what Hunter says in the clips I'm going to show you, but who knows. So I've made a lot of notes. This is one of these big projects that I've been working on this week. So basically what I want to do is go through different stages of his political content and not take massive deep dives into the video, but really show you the gist of his political opinions. Now, this guy is 11 months younger than me, to keep in mind. So I'm 25, I'm 26 in November, and I think he's 25 in November, I believe. So just keep that in mind with these videos about how old he is, because it's a bit different from other people. But the first political video I want to talk about is one he uploaded on the 28th of August 2015 called How to Be a Liberal. I'm going to play some of that for you right now.
You have what it takes to be offended by everything? Hi, my name's John, except when I identify as a Tom. And I'm a male, except when I identify as a female, except when I identify as a gender fluid human, except when I identify as a toucan. I'm your instructor, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to be a liberal. Everything is offensive. I'm going to show you some extremely offensive situations that you should totally start whining about. Notice this older boy, for some reason, is coloring with crayons. He is using the white crayon more than he's using the black crayon. Privileged, white, racist! Yeah, thanks so much, man. Alright, see you later. Man, Joe is such a nice person. Stop! Transphobic! Joe may not identify as a person. You must refer to him or her as a beautiful mass of living cells. Aha. Here we have a young man spreading his legs out in a comfortable fashion. If a woman walked in, she could be uncomfortable and get upset. Triggered. Sexist!
So in that video you can see he's making fun of gender fluid people, making fun of trans people, making fun of, like, I guess, feminism, perceiving sexism to be everywhere. You know, it's pretty typical conservative content at this point. And that is bad. That video is very bad. It gets a lot worse because that was like the first explicitly political one that's still up on the channel from the early days. This one is way worse. The 15th of January 2016, How to Be Politically Correct. Now you guys can watch this for yourself.
I will be teaching how to be politically correct. Step 1, the look. You can't just say you're politically correct. No, you need to look like it as well. Let's examine this young cisgendered boy, Timmy. He's extremely white, like a frickin' salt shaker, so he will be required to wear this special privileged badge to show how privileged he is for being white. Hopefully, he feels very guilty about that as well. Next, let's put on some lipstick to be more accepting to the trans community, LGBT community, and the QUEERTVGBGTLVWY community. Step 3. Respect other cultures. We pride ourselves in respecting every beautiful and amazing culture. Some of our favorite cultures include the amazing and beautiful and gorgeous and peaceful Islamic culture. We also love the great and amazing Mexican culture. That's why we gladly accept millions of those undocumented welcomed guests into our great country. Let's go see how Timmy is doing respecting other cultures. Allah Akbar! Everyone run! There's a terrorist! Excuse me? You did not refer to someone like that, alright? You need to be more respectful of his culture, or her culture, depending on the gender identity they've chosen. Now I can't believe I need to apologize for you. You scum! I am so sorry about what he said, and I'm also sorry that climate change is causing you to commit this workplace violence. Allah Akbar! See, Timmy, if you had been more accepting of this beautiful, peaceful Islamic culture, this person wouldn't be dead. Step 4. Respect every living thing's gender identity. It is extremely important that you accept every single gender identity. It may sound strange or a bit different to you, but that's just because you're a stupid bigot. Let's practice, shall we? I am toucan-sexual. I accept you. Great job. I'm a trans, demi-queer, lopo-fluid, otherkin, vegan-sexual. I accept you. You're getting it, Timmy. I'm straight. No, Timmy. It's politically incorrect to accept straight people.
Like, damn, that content is just so offensive. Like, where do I even begin with a video like that? The Star of David with white privilege on it, like, you know, the ones they used to wear in occupied, like, German territories during World War II if you were Jewish. We've seen that a lot lately, but, you know, that's so offensive. Obviously, he's attacking the LGBT community. Just, you know, straight up racism against Muslims and Mexicans, of course, also criticizing and being bigoted to trans people. That one video is just like, damn, like when I watched that, I was like, this guy was awful, like so bad. This is like, you know, Donald Trump's child or like Breitbart come to life and stuff. Honestly, so bad. But it's also like some other pretty typical stuff as well. The next video I want to talk about is just like general criticism of, you know, people that leftist liberals kind of like. Bernie Sanders, so in the 26th of February 2016, why you should vote for Bernie Sanders.
You should vote for Bernie Sanders if you failed your economics class. Remember when you were forced to take that stupid economics class, and then when you got your final grade back, it was a big fat ugly F? But the kid sitting right next to you studied so much harder, and he got an A+. The teacher really should have taken his grade and dispersed it evenly among the class. That would have been much more fair. Now look, you got a C-. Great job! Vote for Bernie Sanders if you hate the rich. Can you even fathom that some people live in a house like this? I mean, give me a break. It's not like they worked super hard and rightfully earned all those nice things. It's unfair that they have nicer things than you. But don't worry, if you vote for Bernie Sanders, he'll tax the rich even more to pay for all the handouts for you lazy, spoiled, stupid brats. Remember, rich people are evil and greedy, and if you're planning on voting for Bernie Sanders, you need to hate them.
Saying that Bernie Sanders supporters failed their economics class, memeing about free college, simping for the rich. These are all pretty typical conservative position. But the racism continues. Like, just mask off racism. Really, really bad stuff here. So the problem with BLM, this video came out on the 22nd of July 2016. So here's a clip for you.
Black Lives Matter. The movement is violent and racist. They hardly care about other black people unless it supports their political agenda. And they take issues that affect everyone and try to twist it into a blacks-only problem. The movement is violent and racist. Time and time again, we are told by the media and other members of Black Lives Matter that the movement is peaceful. But all you have to do is literally open your eyes to see that this is a complete and total lie. I mean, of course there are some reasonable members of the BLM movement. It's unfair to say that every single member of the group is this violent racist, but the vast majority have proven to be violent and racist. You can start by looking at who the movement considers to be their heroes, these violent, hateful cop killers. Racism is another problem with the Black Lives Matter movement. According to Black Lives Matter organizer, white people aren't welcome at rallies and should just hand over reparations so that they can purchase new cell phones and laptops. Black Lives Matter movement doesn't care about other black people. Unless it fits their political agenda, of course. Time and time again, the Black Lives Matter movement protests and riots when a black person is killed. Unless that black person is killed by another black person. Black on black crime is a massive problem currently affecting the black community. But Black Lives Matter movement is not attempting to end racism. They're only making racial tension worse with the constant hateful rhetoric. Every single life matters. Every single life is precious. And every single life deserves to be treated equal.
Saying, you know, most of them are violent racists, simping for cops, criticizing reparations, saying that Black Lives Matter doesn't care about black people because they don't talk about black on black crime. So all the dog whistles you have heard before if you're in, I guess, US political circles and understand like conservative arguments generally. So already, you know, as a young man, insanely problematic views, like crazily bigoted. And I talked about the amazing atheists having problems with like feminism and stuff. It's nothing compared to the stuff I've just shown you. Surprise, surprise, this guy was also a Trump supporter. So a video he made on the 16th of September 2016 called Why I Love Donald Trump. So let's show you some clips from this video as well.
Why I love Donald Trump. Number 1. I support Donald Trump because I like his ideas. Believe it or not, the guy who kind of looks like a sweet potato actually has some pretty good ideas. For example, the wall. Like it or not, we have a problem with illegals entering our country right now. And Trump's policy is basic common sense. We have people entering illegally, so let's put something in their way so they can't get in. Duh. This is not bigotry. This is certainly not racism. It's something I like to call following the law. Another idea I like from Trump is the temporary Muslim ban. Mind-blowing fact, but Muslim isn't a race. Putting a temporary pause on Muslim immigration is not racism. And it's not even bigotry. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but our vetting system has a real problem right now. Now, this is just my personal opinion and my personal feelings here, but I don't really want to get blown up. So it makes perfect sense to simply stop the immigration, improve our vetting system, and let people start entering again once our vetting system is improved. I assume you want to keep yourself safe, and I assume you want to keep your family safe. I don't see how this is such a difficult concept and a difficult policy to grasp. Problem is Islam. a dangerous ideology that cannot coincide with the Western world until it is reformed.
So this one is actually just like pretty stupid as well. And it's funny, he says the wall is a good idea because you put a wall in front of illegal immigrants and that's going to stop them. Also, being up for the Muslim ban, saying like bigoted stuff about Islam being incompatible with the Western world. So all pretty like standard stuff. But of course, if you jumped on the Trump train earlier, you probably had a lot of bigotry within you and racism and stuff. So that is all like 2015 to 2016. When this guy's like, 18, 19, 20. But this stuff doesn't really stop. And like I said, you're going to be surprised that his shift to being a more liberal person doesn't come until a lot later. So let's fast forward a couple years. Because I want to cover another topic which he's touched on, illegal immigrants. So February 2016, a video called Dear Illegal Immigrants. And I just want to play you a clip quickly of the end of that video where he's saying that illegals self-victimized and should just try and be citizens.
You broke the law by being here. You are not a unique, poor, or special little victim because you've been residing in this country illegally when you've had plenty of time to begin pursuing citizenship. Don't act like this country owes you anything when you couldn't even respect this country's basic laws. When you act entitled, it doesn't make anyone have sympathy towards you. It makes you look like a spoiled, demanding child who'd be better off selling piñatas in Mexico. Dear illegal immigrants, you are not a victim. It's extremely common for places like BuzzFeed, other liberals, or even illegals themselves to paint themselves as these poor, sad victims. Don't get me wrong, maybe you were a victim in Mexico, but being an illegal immigrant here in the US does not mean that you are now a victim. If you came here illegally, it's your fault and yours alone. Take some responsibility for your own actions. Either way, in a society where the biggest victim is the biggest winner, this kind of behavior makes perfect sense. The dumpster of the internet BuzzFeed posted a video a while back trying to use emotion over facts to try and make us feel sorry for illegal immigrants.
I've been feeling depressed because I don't know if my hard work is going to amount to anything since I'm undocumented.
Well, you wouldn't be depressed if you pursued citizenship.
I would cry myself to sleep because people thought I was a bad person for not having documents. I'm not a bad person.
Sure, whether you're a good person or not amounts to more than if you have your papers or not. But you did break the law by being here, and you continue to break the law every day that you stay here.
So again, no empathy, no real compassion there. And of course, the framing of illegal immigrants and migrants really, to me, is often very telling because, we see with the Haiti stuff at the moment, the conditions in a lot of these countries are really untenable for a lot of people. They don't take dangerous routes to America because they're looking for a new job and fancy a change of lifestyle. They're literally like fleeing. They're refugees in my mind. But this is something you still hear today, and it's something that goes on constantly. And I'm talking about the Haiti stuff. This is like the migrant caravan era of Donald Trump. And again, some more absolutely mask off racism on another video about this stuff, the 26th of November 2018, about the migrant caravan.
A few weeks ago, we got word that a migrant caravan was headed towards the US border. The migrants, of course, are claiming their goal is to settle in the US because they are fleeing persecution, poverty, and violence. Donald Trump was quick to label it an invasion. He was then soundly mocked, scoffed, and ridiculed because how dare he make such a suggestion? This migrant caravan is absolutely a threat, and it has now been proven. Well, if you ask me, this is sounding more and more like an invasion. But it wasn't until they got to the second border that the US began firing tear gas. Now, shockingly enough, liberals are crying about this, pun intended, despite the fact that this was not only necessary, it was good. We are finally showing the world that we will not take this blatant disrespect towards our country and our laws. Like it or not, cry about it all day, America comes first. And I refuse to apologize for putting my needs and the needs of my fellow Americans above the needs of these foreigners trying to enter our country based on nothing but entitlement. It's time to build the wall.
So saying there, the migrant caravan is a massive threat and crucial to the future of the country. Basically, brutalizing them is good, and it's an invasion. So you guys will remember when Trump was really playing this stuff up before the midterms. But then after the midterms, seemingly didn't care anymore. There was no invasion. But the hysteria around this stuff, if you don't remember, was absolutely crazy. And insanely racist. Like, there's so many dog whistles, but there's also just so much mask off racism, invasion. It's a massive threat to the future of the US. You see people like Tucker Carlson talk about this a lot with the Afghanistan refugee stuff. But then slowly, Hunter's content changed very slowly. So he still was criticizing all the mainstream Democrats. You know, he says AOC is an idiot. He criticizes Bernie Sanders, constantly criticizing CNN as like liberal propaganda. There is a lot of stuff on his channel that is pretty typical of a conservative. Now, the videos I'm going to show you from his channel are from after this, but because he cites this, he actually was called out by Vaush in Vaush's early days, and he made a video about Vaush, basically criticizing him back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I have been called out. This time by a smarmy liberal who looks fresh out of Starbucks. This is a channel known as Vaush. Although lacking in subscribers, this pretentious hipster has made multiple different videos on me, spending almost an hour each time talking about yours truly. This pretentious hipster clearly views himself as morally superior. He thinks he's just so smart. But once you get past the pretentious fluff surrounding his words, Vaush is nothing more than a cliche, weak, pathetic reactionary, forming baseless arguments on his own preconceived notions.
Because Vaush basically kept criticizing Hunter for his old content, which I've shown you is awful, basically. But this is in the era of Hunter's, like, I guess, maybe moving away from the mask off stuff. But he still has a fear-mongering and the dog whistling about migrants. So in June 2019, Vaush and Hunter had a debate.
And this is why, even if everything I said right now wasn't true, you still lied in how you framed the Kevin Hart controversy. Because all you said was he made some jokes and the gay people got super mad and forced him off the Oscars, which is such an incredibly disingenuous framing of what took place that it's actually disgusting. And I can only believe that homophobia or like bigotry on your part is the motivating factor here. I don't know if it's like a money thing, because I know like reactionary politics, like you have to keep in lockstep with a certain set of values. I can't think of a morally consistent position you're taking on this.
I do understand the position where you're coming from. However, I think that it's dishonest for you to accuse me of lying when, first of all, I was not lying about anything. I explained the situation. I researched the situation beforehand as well. And what happened was Kevin Hart made some jokes a long time ago. People got mad. The controversy led to him getting kicked out of the office.
Why did they get mad?
Stepping down. They got mad because they dug up a bunch of old homophobic jokes.
Okay, so we agree the jokes are homophobic, right?
Now, Hunter wouldn't reveal later, and I'm going to play that for you in a bit, that this debate actually started his shift to the left, because he was realizing more and more he was just being ignorant and staying in his bubble, and people like Vaush debating him in this way made him realize he was being closed-minded just to suit his like own agenda, basically, and he didn't want to get these new facts into his head and everything. So from this debate onwards, before he reveals he's left the right, you can see his content shift a bit. He's not perfect by any means. I'm not saying he was suddenly good, but he started calling out other conservatives, which was different. So Caitlin Bennett, Gun Girl, was the first main one I saw. And this is where he was just talking about how she's just stupid, awful, makes conservatism look awful. I think he's still identifying as a conservative in these videos.
Today we're doing it. I don't like Caitlin Bennett. Now I know there are some people who probably follow me that do like her, and that's okay. I'm not here to make you all mad, okay? But I do ask that instead of disliking the video and crying in the comments like a triggered liberal, you instead hear me out, watch the entire video, and then let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. I also want to start this off by giving credit where it's due. I appreciate the fact that Caitlin Bennett is pro-life. I consider myself a strong pro-life advocate, and I like that Caitlin Bennett is as well. I also agree with Caitlin when it comes to some of her opinions on gun control. I do think that certain gun control policies do indeed infringe on our Second Amendment rights. However, just if I agree with Caitlin on a few of her ideologies, it does not mean I agree with her delivery and presentation of them. Caitlin Bennett is a very poor representation of right-wingers. She's disingenuous, she makes horrible arguments, and she's been trying to hide a very specific clip that I'll be showing you in today's video.
But on the 12th of April 2020, nearly a year after this Vaush debate, he makes a video titled "Why I Left the Right," and he talks about the Vaush debate. So I'm going to play you some clips here.
I haven't. Some fans have definitely noticed that I've seemed a little different. My approach to some things has just seemed different. And honestly, those, like, noticing that makes sense to me, because like I said, I have changed. I am a little different. People, of course, have been accusing me of being a liberal or a leftist or something, which is just not true. But I certainly have been calling out right-wingers really hard. Like, I've been calling out right-wingers more than I've been calling out left-wingers as of right now. For sure, 100%. And that's really because I'm noticing a lot of flaws with the right wing and with the political ideology that I used to associate myself with. And then, you know, come March, she had the baby, which was my daughter Rose. And I'd heard a lot of people say that, like, hey, when this happens, it changes you. Like, you'll see the kid and it's going to just change your perspective. You're no longer going to feel so afraid. And at first, I didn't really feel that yet. It was literally only a matter of like a couple days with the baby before my perspective just changed. When I was being called out by this YouTuber Vaush, and I was already kind of questioning, like, you know, it wasn't like I was thinking of all my like right-wing positions and sort of like thinking like, could I be wrong about this? Could I be wrong about this? But it was more like a subconscious thing, and it was more like the motion had been set. Okay? So the motion had been set. I was getting called out by this YouTuber Vaush, and I agreed to debate him, and I got wrecked. Literally, I got wrecked in the debate. Like, and this guy Vaush, listen, I don't agree with every position he holds by any means, all right? I think he has some pretty spicy takes that I don't agree with, all right? Let's not pull the whole guilt by association thing and claim that because I went on his show or something, or I debated him, that somehow makes me a bad person or means I agree with everything he's ever said. That's just not the case. However, during our debate, Vaush made some excellent points, specifically about LGBT issues, that I simply couldn't refute. Like, I don't know what people wanted me to, would have expected me to do. But I'm not the type of person that's just gonna stick my head in the sand and be like, well, this is the position that I need to hold because I need to hold it because I claim to be conservative. I don't care if I'm wrong. That's not how I work. As much as I absolutely hate the term, I find it to be very cringy. I guess you would consider me a centrist. I guess, because I really am not too extreme on either side, and I hold positions that kind of align with both sides.
So you see there are multiple reasons saying he's growing up, saying him being a father has made him change his perspective, and he comes out as a centrist, essentially, saying he can no longer just completely throw away left-wing talking points, and he hopes people will understand. And a lot of people unsubscribed, but initially a lot of people didn't mind so much, and he's just talking about his political evolution, which I guess, you know, I understand, because we all have political evolutions. It's just this guy's one is just so drastic. Like, if I was making videos, because I started with YouTube in 2017, I'm sure there are a lot of videos I probably go back and criticize, you know, a bit. I don't think I'm exactly the same. I think I changed a lot when I was like 21, for example. I supported Bernie Sanders like since 2015. I was always more left-leaning. I just had some real ignorance about politics sometimes. But then the contrast with his old content is very stark. So he covered the George Floyd stuff pretty extensively. And maybe I'm a bit uncomfortable with him clickbaiting a lot of his stuff for views. But I feel like these couple months are where he changed a lot. So in one of the George Floyd videos, where with his Black Lives Matter stuff, he completely throws out all like economic factors and police brutality involved in racism, he actually outlines pretty clearly how all this stuff in the American society factors into racism and police brutality.
African Americans have less access to stable jobs, good wages, and retirement benefits at work, all key drivers by which American families gain access to savings. Although America has made massive strides forward, the injustices that existed historically still play a negative role today. Krasner continued, when you have concentrated poverty like we do in Philadelphia, people are still going to want to survive. They're going to want to make money, and therefore what it leads to is a fertile ground for criminal exploitation in various different forms. The poor neighborhood he was born into was due to America's sad history of racism and segregation. The system he fell victim to was perpetuated again by America's history. George experienced firsthand some of these systems holding its thumb on poor American communities. There are many great things about America, but there are also still systems in place that disadvantage certain groups of people. The police force has historically oppressed black communities. This doesn't mean all police are bad. There are plenty of good and honorable cops as individuals, but the way the police system works incentivizes officers to wield their absurd amount of power unfairly, disproportionately targeting black and brown people, many times unintentionally.
So that is like a stark contrast to like who he used to be. But Vaush was very happy with this and saying like Hunter was a great guy and everything in a video reacting to Hunter's shift central or, you know, a bit to the left and everything.
How's everyone doing? I feel phenomenal because a good friend of mine has left the right. Hunter Avallone was one of the first YouTube content creators who I started going after when I started my channel. It wasn't anything specific to Hunter Avallone's content. I just saw YouTube videos that were recommended to me and I started throwing my weight into criticizing them. Eventually I was able to debate Hunter Avallone, and then afterwards, I think I kind of became his friend, and now I definitely am his friend. I've talked with Hunter Avallone quite a bit privately, now I've said in the past, people who do these why I left the blank videos are degenerate grifters who are just trying to make money off of appealing to a new political audience. However, I don't really think that applies here.
The thing is, maybe something that has remained consistent with Hunter Avallone is hating liberals, but in a video on the 4th of February 2021, he talks about liberals striking again and basically pushing for systemic change through aesthetics, which is something I always talk about and is a really key visual difference between liberals and leftists, which he outlines about like police cars having Martin Luther King on them and stuff like that.
Look at some examples of this liberal, lukewarm acceptance that MLK warned us about. If you haven't seen this already, then I'm very sorry for what I'm about to show you, but yes, here are police cars advertising for diversity and inclusion. Here's Harriet Tubman, and over here, yeah, MLK, commemorating Black history. This is a perfect example of shallow understanding from people of goodwill. The police force has a long and painful history of racism and fighting against civil rights movements. So for these cucks to ignore where change is actually needed and instead just plop some pictures of famous black people on their police cars so they can say, look how diverse we are. No, it's so pathetic and cringy, and it's nothing but a cheap virtue signal.
But now I want to get into something I really appreciate about a reformed anti-SJW and what they're doing before I talk about my own criticisms of someone like this. So something that none of the reformed anti-SJWs have really done is address their old content in a proper way. Like a lot of people, like Sean Head, for example, don't even seem to be very apologetic, despite people I've often spoke to, saying people like her, Chris Reagan, Ahmed Skeptic actually radicalized them into far-right beliefs and stuff. Of Hunter Avallone, I guess my problem is, I don't know if you guys can point me to it, I couldn't find it. I haven't seen him really address how bad he was in maybe radicalizing people, because he was a very popular channel. I haven't really seen that. What I actually appreciate is he's debunked his old videos, which is really interesting because I guess it takes a bit of balls to look at your old videos and be like, I was such an idiot. So I think he made a couple before this, but this is the one I wanted to talk about because I covered this video in this video. So on the 16th of September 2020, he debunked his own Black Lives Matter video. So in this video, he says his arguments were really dumb, the vast majority of it wasn't legit, and he even debunked his own sources.
Number one, the movement is violent and racist. Time and time again, we are told by the media and other members of Black Lives Matter that the movement is peaceful. But all you have to do is literally open your eyes to see that this is a complete and total lie.
When you say just open your eyes, it's obvious. You can usually tell this is about to be a really dumb argument because you don't make good logical conclusions based on just what you see around you in your narrow point of view. You look at it from a statistical standpoint. Vast majority. That's some pretty bold language, okay? I'm not going to even try to debunk anything. I want to actually see what my arguments are. But again, I want us to remember this. The vast majority have proven to be violent and racist.
You can start by looking at who the movement considers to be their heroes. These violent, hateful cop killers.
Alright, so let's go ahead and stop right here. This is my first real attempt at making an argument, and it's when I bring forward this article that says a short list of Black Lives Matter's cop killing heroes. I'm gonna be honest, I remember making this video. I didn't read this article. I literally just saw the headline, it fit my narrative, and that's what I went with. Turns out that this article comes from good old-fashioned Breitbart. I remember the good old days, man, when I just needed a stat or something that supported my agenda. I could just go to Breitbart, and there it was waiting for me. We're making a lot of the cliche arguments here. First and foremost, I know this doesn't debunk the point, but I gotta point it out because it's funny. I got this from InfoWars. Hunter, I want to believe that you were better than that at this point. Paul Joseph Watson? Oh my god, dude. Come on. Literally just random tweets.
So that is really interesting, pointing out that he barely researched this stuff, used like InfoWars as a source and Breitbart, and just showing how someone like him was really, I guess, had this tunnel vision where they weren't going to listen to any of the arguments. And I appreciate his pretty thorough debunking of his old video. And just how thorough he was in saying, like, he was just totally wrong. Like, there was no merit to saying all this stuff about Black Lives Matter. Now, he also went on to debunk his Why I Love Donald Trump video on the 25th of March, 2021. Now, here he addresses his comments that were really bigoted towards Muslim people. And he talks about what happened under the Trump administration.
For example, the wall. Like it or not, we have a problem with illegals entering our country right now.
Stop. All right. Actually, no. You can actually look here at this article, which is research from 2015. So I believe this would have been available when I made this video. Mexican immigration was declining. It's just kind of weird that I'm saying I like the wall on the southern border, but yet Mexican immigration is just kind of steady and slowly declining.
Another idea I like from Trump is the temporary Muslim ban. Temporary pause on Muslim immigration is not racism. And it's not even bigotry.
Yeah, it quite literally is bigotry. It's funny I say that. Once Trump was president, the Supreme Court struck down his Muslim ban twice. 2 different times they struck it down on the basis of religious discrimination.
You see, the problem isn't Muslims, the problem is Islam. A dangerous ideology that cannot coincide with the Western world until it is reformed.
Do I mean coexist? It can't exist in the Western world? That's a little yikesy sounding. I'm gonna be completely honest. Once again, I am wrong, and once again, I am now right. US Muslims are more accepting of homosexuality than white evangelicals.
So basically they're debunking the justification by many that the Muslim ban wasn't straight up racism. Of course, initially it was also cracked down on by the Supreme Court. Also talking about Islam supposedly being incompatible, when in America, American Muslims are more supportive of like LGBT people compared to white evangelicals. So that is something I wish more reactionaries would do. Whether they can't through cringe, or whether they haven't actually changed that much is another thing. Because my theory, which is beyond people like Hunter, because it is pretty clear he's changed significantly, with people like Sean Head and The Amazing Atheist, is they haven't actually really changed that much. It's just they've shifted a bit to the left, but it's not like they disagree with a lot of their former positions. So in general there, I really appreciate that for someone who has had these awful views and awful, I guess, opinions on politics and has pushed discrimination, racism, transphobia, has pushed basically every kind of bigotry you can imagine, how when he's grown up a bit, he has made videos debunking that, thoroughly debunking that, like you can't even argue with his debunking, really, and basically showing how much of an idiot he was and exposing himself as, I guess, not really a grifter, but someone who was doing this for a political agenda and ignoring facts just to suit their opinion. This really isn't surprising for a lot of conservatives at all, but it's nice to get, I guess, some real insight into why people do this and how they do this and everything like that. So that's kind of the evolution of Hunter Avallone's content, and I feel like that's very, very interesting. But now I want to get into my criticisms of him in general, because I was talking about this in my Discord, and some people were saying, why doesn't he remove the content? Like, there's so much up there, probably still gets, a couple thousand views a month, maybe you know, a lot more, probably still makes him money. I was definitely getting ads when I was watching those crazy videos. And a lot of them actually aren't that old. You know, a lot of this bigotry stuff was in 2019, only 2 years ago. So I think that's a very legit criticism, is that if you've changed so much, why don't you private all these videos? Why are they still up? Unless your ideology is like, look how much I've changed, but then you can still have the videos and make these debunkings of them while they're private. You can just download them and react to them. Do you really need to keep them up forever? And that's the same with like Shoe on Head and other reformed anti-SJWs, is all these videos espousing gross racism and everything are still up there. So again, I feel like while he is far better than pretty much anyone else I've seen who's a reformed anti-SJW, far-right reactionary, at the same time, I can understand the criticism if you care that much, get rid of your old content. Unless he is a zealot in that he is just like, no, I want people to see what I was like and now how I've changed. But like I said, I get people watching my old videos from like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Sometimes I get spikes in views. And if these videos were pushing racism and bigotry and I was reformed now, maybe I would take them down. Now that also plays into my wider point, because Mike from PA, who's debated Hunter a couple times, basically keeps bringing this stuff up and saying, like, you literally were a right-winger like less than 2 years ago, and now you're coming in the left and gatekeeping or like telling us how to think and everything. And I can get how that's generally annoying, and I've experienced it myself, where because Hunter Avallone is a big YouTube name in, I guess, the political circles, when he comes over to the left, he has this elevated status, right? Not that it's been earned through being an advocate for left-wing policies for years, it's just because he's famous on YouTube. And that's the same with people like Shoe on Head and other reformed anti-SJW reactionaries. But at the same time, I can get why people wouldn't forgive them. And now this gets to my main point, is that the people Hunter has pushed this vile bigotry on, and they're in the left, don't need to forgive him. Like, people say we're too gatekeeping on the left and everything like that, and if someone has a change of heart, we should accept them. How are we going to win anyone over if we just act like this? But, you know, if you are a trans person, a gay person, an African-American person, someone who is Latino, or they come from a refugee or migrant background, and you don't want this guy in left-wing spaces, I think that's totally fine. I don't know if he's outlined this, but if a guy has built his name and his career on pushing racism and bigotry and then changes just under 2 years, when he's been doing YouTube for over 6 years, then yeah, you don't have to accept him. I don't care about this gatekeeping. This guy literally made money off this stuff. He made money off being racist, and these videos got millions and millions of views. And he probably influenced other people's racism and bigotry, which they never broke out of. And this guy, by and large, has been a damaging force on the internet. And that's just the fact. Because why it's a fact is because now, as much as I give him credit for debunking stuff that he often said, those videos don't get views compared to his old ones. He's debunking videos with over like 1 million views, 600k views, and his reaction to those videos is getting like 10k, 13k, 20k. So although it's very good to see this guy as apologetic, literally his whole YouTube career, the money he's made, everything like that, has been built by a straight white man in America punching down, pushing xenophobia, pushing racism, and radicalizing people. And watching this guy's old content was just shocking for me. And I will grant him to an extent that he was a young person and young people change, but at the same time, these marginalized communities who you've actively made their lives worse, it doesn't mean they have to forget because you've changed. And that's my main point. If Ben Shapiro became a liberal and then suddenly started debunking all his old videos, that would be great and everything. But at the same time, someone like Ben Shapiro has done immeasurable damage to online discourse and has radicalized people into racism, xenophobia, bigotry against the LGBT community. People don't have to forgive you. And I don't know if Hunter is looking for forgiveness. A lot of these people often are. I don't get the vibe that he is looking for forgiveness, rather than trying to show how he's changed as a person, because he probably doesn't think he was an awful person back then. But the politics he had were very shocking. So for me personally, I'm not like gatekeeping, saying you can't watch his content, you can't agree with his positions and stuff. But I think it's perfectly acceptable for people just to not want to associate with this guy. Because as much as you changed, like I said, you've changed now, and it seems sincere. You've gone from a very popular YouTuber who probably gets millions of views a month to someone who doesn't do that anymore. You've debunked your old points very thoroughly, and that's commendable. It seemed like you were evolving a bit naturally after your Vaush debate, even before you came out and said you weren't part of the right anymore. But at the same time, I find myself uncomfortable. You know, he comes in, starts criticizing people for using guillotine memes, and that kind of annoys me because I'm like, well, who are you to judge? You literally were a massive racist for most of your YouTube career, and you made money off his stuff. And now you're saying we can't meme about guillotines because it might alienate people like you. But at the same time, if marginalized people who you've actively hurt don't want to accept you, don't want to appeal to people like you, then they shouldn't have to. And also you shouldn't make them feel bad about it because they're totally right in those opinions. So for me personally, I don't care. Watch his content. I don't disagree enough with his video. I disagree with a few of his political positions. I don't majorly disagree with his content on a lot of issues and stuff. But yeah, like I said, you don't have to forgive anti-SJWs ever. I'm also coming at this from a British perspective. And while you might hear these arguments a lot in America, the ones I showed you at the start, that stuff, in my opinion, is far right. It's bordering on like white nationalists and stuff. So again, it's commendable he evolved and gave up the money, but at the same time, this was a super, in my view, radicalized person who radicalized more people. So I've been pretty critical right at the end, but overall, I do believe the change is sincere. It's good to see. It's good to see someone, I guess, not care about the money as much or the clout they could have had or the influence they could have had, and actually had this more natural political evolution after speaking to Vaush and stuff. And I do think the debunking stuff is really effective, and I would love more people to do it. Like, if you're a reformed anti-SJW reactionary, you should probably outline to people why you were so wrong. And if you are seeking forgiveness, which I don't think a lot of these people necessarily are, then I think you should do that. I also think you should probably private, at the very least, all your old videos, because they're still there and you're still being really offensive and people can still watch them. And I know you might not think they will, but I'm guarantee if you look at some of your analytics, a few of those videos, even from like 2017, 18, are still getting a couple thousand views a month. If Hunter is, you know, genuinely apologetic for all the people he's hurt through his videos, then that might be a good step to take. But yeah, like I said, lots of people to me have often said people like Hunter, Sean Head, Chris Raygun, Armored Skeptic, obviously Sargon of Akkad, were instrumental in radicalizing them as young people, and luckily for some, they get out of that. Not so luckily for others, they get even worse. That's something he has to live with, and he's doing good work to debunk the stuff he often said, but just people don't really want to watch that anymore, especially his former audience. I don't know if he views it like I do in terms of him doing active damage to people and radicalizing people, or does he just see it as, well, YouTube was my platform, I once thought X and now I think Y, and it's just been this natural evolution and I'm not that person anymore. Anyway, that is the political evolution of Hunter Avallone. Let me know what you guys think in the video. Anyone have a similar trajectory to Hunter? Did you used to watch Hunter back in the day? I know a few of you are reformed anti-SJWs, so I'd be interesting to hear that stuff. If you want to follow me on social media, at the Kavernacle on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to check out my Patreon, that is in the description. And if you want to join our communities and talk about this stuff, my Discord and my subreddit are all in the description. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.